Hi everyone. You might be wondering why I have wet hair. Do you ever have those great ideas while you're in the shower? Well, I just had one of those great ideas, and I wanted to get this on video as soon as I can, because you know how that is. You have a great idea, and then a few minutes later, you forget what it was. Well, anyway, I was on a coaching call today. I was coaching a real estate investor, a new real estate investor. And I work with the business aspect. The business life coaching is what I do. My name is Simone Mancuso, for those of you who don't know me yet. And I'm a licensed life success consultant and a business life coach. And I was working with one of my real estate investor clients who's new to the business. And I want to talk about a couple of things here that real estate investors, especially the new ones, experience all the time. Or actually anybody experiences this. Anybody that's doing something new will experience something called fear, the four-letter word fear, or what we refer to as the terror barrier. Now, in order to accomplish something that you have not done before, most of the time you are going to have to get through this terror barrier and get past this fear. So I want to talk about this fear that new real estate investors have. Now, I'm also a real estate investor, and I have a real estate investment company, so I'm very, very familiar with some of the fears that we have in the business of real estate investing and what we have starting out. Now, if you go to one of your RIAs, your Real Estate Investment Association, go to the local RIA, and there's probably a large group of people in that association that have never bought an investment property. So why is that? How can that be? They show up every month to these meetings and yet haven't bought a property yet. Well, there are two reasons why people don't, and they all have to do with fear. Now, this is a double-edged sword for real estate investors. So the first one is, if you're a real estate investor, you know our offers have to be really, really low. As the saying goes, if you're not embarrassed by your offer, you're offering too much, right? You've probably heard that before. So there are things that's going to scare us about that, okay? Fear of rejection, right? You're going to make that offer either to a real estate agent or to a seller, and we're afraid of their reaction and how they're going to respond to that. And we're afraid of the rejection, and we're afraid of making that person angry, or you're afraid of, this could be you, that you're afraid of insulting somebody, you're afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. So that's step number one, is getting past the fear, this fear of rejection, right? So here's where the double-edged sword comes in for real estate investors. So what is actually even scarier, especially for the people who have never done a deal before, is actually getting that offer accepted. Holy cow! You get the offer accepted, now what? Now you have to do something. You have to get money, you have to go to closing, you have to rehab it, you have to find another buyer to buy your property or find a tenant. That's huge. So I think it's probably even scarier for some people to get an offer accepted than to face the rejection. So these are two huge terror barriers that real estate investors have to get past oftentimes. And then sometimes you might be a seasoned real estate investor and you're familiar with dabbling in your median price range homes, and then all of a sudden you get a luxury home. Boy, that's a bigger number, and you have to get through that fear and that terror barrier again, because now you have a bigger nut to crack, right? You have a bigger rehab project. So those of you who are real estate investors and find yourself in that group of not having made an offer yet or have not done a deal yet, these are two things that you must get past. The way that I've gotten past it, because making offers is really a habit that you have to get into in order to become a successful real estate investor. If you're not making offers, you're not a real estate investor. So you have to start getting in the habit. Now, what I did when I was new to get into the habit of making offers was I had about 20 escape clauses in my contract that if I should get cold feet or if I find something later on that I don't like, I can null and void the contract. So that was what I did. So I would write a contract, and seriously, I think I had a contingency that if my dog sneezed when he walked in the house, the contract's null and void. I mean, I really had it covered every which way. So again, you can do that. You can put some contingency in your contract just so you get past that fear of making the offer and get in the habit of making offers. Of course, now when I make offers, it's not unusual for me to go, no contingencies at all, not even financing contingencies, no inspection contingencies, nothing. I've gone in with zero. So when I started out, and you can do this too, put some contingencies in there so get yourself comfortable with getting into the habit of making offers. 2, what if your offer gets accepted? The worst case scenario, well, I shouldn't say the worst case scenario, but one of the things, of course, things can fall apart during the contract. So if you're not able to close, again, the worst case scenario, if you get a contract and get it accepted, worst case scenario is you'll lose your earnest money. So again, I've written earnest money checks for $100. I've actually done some deals with zero earnest money. So that gets rid of the other fear. So the other ones, again, of course, once you get the property and you get it under contract and you get it closed, you still have that next fear of, now what do I do? Well, here's the thing. If you get a really great deal, everything else will fall into place. You can always sell a really great deal to somebody else as a great deal. So these are some of the things that you can get past. Now, of course, do your due diligence. So make sure that you're doing your homework. But these are some fears and some ways to get past your fears of actually becoming a true real estate investor and making those offers and making a lot of offers and closing the deals and making some money. So good luck on your adventure of real estate investing. And if you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. So I hope this helps, and I hope this gets you to the closing table.